What's good out there, my Key TV land? You know what time it is. It's definitely that time for the Entertainment Beat, another exciting episode of the Entertainment Beat. This month's episode, we have a very special guest. I need everybody out there that are aspiring to be in the entertainment business. This is the show you definitely need to watch. This one is extra special for me, like all the episodes, but this one is very special because we're going to go behind the scenes. As you know, there's always a story. You see the stars on the front, like you see me in front of the camera, but it's always the people that's behind the scenes that really makes the magic and makes everything work. And today's special guest we have on the Entertainment Beat is just one of those talents, a real Caribbean talent. This is the one and only Ron Carter right here to my right. So, Ron Carter, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Good. Now, the reason why I wanted to have you here on the Entertainment Beat, we're talking about Caribbean talent, and as far as what I want you to do for all the people that don't know who Ron Carter is, tell them about your business and what exactly does Ron Carter bring to the entertainment business.
For over 25 years, I worked in the entertainment business as a public relations consultant. Publicist is what they normally call us in the business. And I had the opportunity to work at Quest Records with Quincy Jones as the senior director of media relations for his company. I run the PR department there. I also worked for Warner Brothers, and I worked for Motown, and then I had the privilege of working with Michael Jackson when he was King of the Hill. Chaka Khan, Earth, Wind and Fire, Third World, Tevin Campbell, just a plethora of individuals.
The question that I want to ask, I guess, which are tying with what the Entertainment Beat is all about and what My Key TV is about, which is exposing Caribbean talent. How did you come from, like I said, humble beginnings from being a native of Guyana, and then I know you worked in the business and finance industry, and then you transitioned over to music.
The way it happened is I was working at Bank of America, and I was a trust administrator at the time. And I wanted to work in the PR department, so I went down to the bank's PR department trying to seek a transfer. And they told me that I needed to have a degree in communications to do that. And I said, okay, no problem. So I started going to school at night to get a degree in communication. And while I was at college, I fell in love with the entertainment business. When I got out of college, I went like, I'm not going back to the bank. I'm going to work in entertainment. So I went back and I started working for a PR agency, and the gentleman who I work with, his name is Gene Shelton. He's one of my best friends, and he gave me an opportunity as a college someone straight out of college, and he was working with an artist on Motown Records, and so the head of Motown Records PR department, he saw my work and he offered me a job, and I went to work with him. He took me with him to work for Michael. And that's where it all started.
How does that make you feel, I guess? Have you ever had time to really reflect that, okay, coming from a West Indian Caribbean background and coming from the Caribbean and then working with one of the industry giants?
It's amazing you asked me that, because I have had those moments where, because I come from a third world country. I mean, I come from a very small country. We don't have a whole lot of stuff like here in America. And every once in a while, while I was in the middle of it, for instance, when I had the opportunity to work with Quincy, I got to meet a lot of great people, and I got to meet Ron Brown. He was Secretary of the Treasury of Commerce at the time. I got to meet Spike Lee, Sidney Poitier. And some of those moments I would stop and and say to myself, wow, here's a guy from a third world country, can come here and be in this situation. And hopefully, when I write my book, which I'm started, it will all be in there.
So do you have any advice for anybody trying to enter this industry?
One of my professors had told me, because he asked me what I wanted to do when I leave, and I told him I wanted to get in the entertainment business, and he said, oh, no, you will never do that. And he just downed me. I mean, that's not going to happen. It's difficult getting in. So after he found out that I had made my way into the entertainment business, 2 years later on, I was working for Michael Jackson. He called me back to the college, to Fullerton, and he wanted me to address his class, and I did. I addressed his class, and I told him, you just have to be tenacious. You got to be willing to work. and make certain that the people who you surround yourself with are people who are not just going to tell you what you want to hear. You know, most people come, they want to be entertainers because they want to get rich. They want to drive around in big fancy cars like Jay-Z and Puffy and wear fancy clothes and drink champagne and all that. But it's got to be more than that. You know, it's got to be something that you say, this is my life's work. I want to be around for a long time. I remember, you know, one time Quincy and I were together, Mr. Jones were together, and I asked him about success. And I said, Mr. Jones, how have you been able to be successful for such a long period of time? And he told me, he said, Ron, what happened is when I was a young man, I met a gentleman who was at the top of his career in his early 20s. He was the first black man to have a television show. He was like, everybody was bowing down to him. His name was Nat Cole, Nat King Cole. And he asked Nat King Cole, how could he be successful? And Nat Cole told him, young man, you could do two things. You could either shoot up like a star and burn out, or you can ride a wave up and down, up and down, up and down, and just be steady and just ride through. And if you look at Quincy's career, that's what he's been doing. He's been up and down, up and down, up and down, but he's always doing something great. Right. And there's so many people who are much more, get a lot more opportunities than him, but they shoot up and they burn out. Right. But he's never really burned out. So I've kind of took that piece of advice from him, and that's how I've been living my life and my career. Right. Been trying not to burn out.
Do you think that by you working behind the scenes, you don't really get caught up by all of that stuff?
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of people who work behind the scenes also, a lot of colleagues that I've worked with that get caught up, you know, whether it's drugs, women, alcoholism and all that. But you have to know who you are and what it is you want and be true to yourself, you know, to avoid the pitfalls. Because the entertainment business is full of excesses and, you know, it's like anything goes. And so you have to have boundaries for yourself, and you have to know how far you're willing to go, you know, to attain success, because there's always someone with a bait waiting to make you do something that you don't want to do and offering you success on the other end. And I've had that opportunity, but I've turned it down every time, you know, to do things that I didn't want to do, you know, to get something else, you know, which would have been a financially successful thing, but it probably would have been just for a very short while. And based upon, you know, my background, where I came from and the kind of parents I have, I know that, you know, everything you get in life, you have to really work hard for. And the thing is having a real solid foundation. And a lot of people that get into entertainment, not all of them, they don't have solid foundations. You know, a lot of them, you know, this is a dream they've been chasing since they were 5, 6, 7, 10 years old, whatever. And so when they get to success, they don't know how to handle it because they don't have any base on which to, you know, to build what they've achieved. You know, but if you have a base, a strong base, then, you know, when you achieve stuff, you know, you kind of like just ride it out. And one of the things that I did when I worked with Quincy, whenever I got the opportunity to speak with him, I will always ask him a lot of questions. I asked him, you know, we were talking again about success, and he said there's something about those Klieg lights that actually drive people crazy, you know, that once that light is on you all the time like that, I don't know, he said there's something about it that some people can't handle, you know, and they're in the spotlight all the time, and they don't know how to behave when they're not in the spotlight.
What are some of the common mistakes and pitfalls that you've seen throughout your years of experience in the entertainment industry that new artists make?
Well, I think there's two. The first one is not really knowing the business. That's a big mistake, because you need to know if you're an artist and this is your craft, this is your life's work, you need to know what it is you're doing. You need to understand it backwards and forwards. And I think a lot of artists sometimes, at least when I was working in the business at a record label, they will come to the label and they will want new clothes, new this, new that, photo sessions, all this stuff, spend money, da-da-da-da-da. And what a lot of them didn't realize was that a lot of that money was going to be charged back to them.
Budget, yep.
You know? So yeah, the record label will give you a lot of money. They will give you money if they believe in you and if they really think that they got something special. But trust me, you're going to pay for it. You know, and so not knowing the business sometimes can get a lot of artists in trouble. And then the other thing is that if you're an artist and you come to a label and you have people in marketing, promotions, A&R, merchandising, and you got all these people, you need to get to know these people and you need to recruit them as advocates for you. You know, you can't just, like some artists will go to record companies and they don't like this and they don't like that, and so they cuss everybody out. They cuss the guy out in marketing, they cuss the person out in A&R, and then you expect that person to put out an extra effort for you. Not when there's so many other artists on that label who are basically thankful for what these people are doing, and your stuff will be moved down into a pile somewhere, or you will not be a priority for most folks. The artists that got the most when I worked in the business was the ones who everybody liked. You know, everybody had nothing but good things to say about them. And everybody was saying, yeah, I like working with this person. You know, and when I worked with Quincy Jones, man, he was a gem to work for. It would have been like the biggest jerk, but he wasn't, you know. And so when these little no-name people come in and because they have a hit record or because they have a record that sold 1 million records or 500,000 or whatever, and they want to act like, you know, they're all this, you just shake your head and say, okay, let's see how long you'll be doing this.
What advice, I guess, would you have, let's say, for anybody out there that wants to start their own business in the entertainment industry? Is there anything that you can kind of give to them as far as opening their own business?
Let me talk about film and then I'll talk about music. In film, a lot of the actors who are acting are now behind the scenes directing. Some of them are writing, and some of them are even producing. You know, guys like Denzel and so many others are doing that. You know, and so that's what you have to do if you're an entertainer. You have to have a plan. You can't just be in front of the camera all the time. I work with an artist right now. Her name is Shelly Boone. Pretty girl. She's an actress. She's good, but she's also producing. She's also writing. And she's also directing her own stuff, you know, and eventually she's going to become a big star because when people get her, they get someone who's multifaceted, multi-talent person. You're not just getting a diva, you know, somebody who's just going to show up on the set, do their job, make everybody miserable, but you got to put up with her because she's a good person, a good actress. You're getting somebody who's multifaceted, and so that person can more understand the whole creative process. As it relates to music, if you're a singer, you can't just be a singer anymore. You have to be able to write the songs. You know, and it would be great if you can read and play music too. I mean, there's a reason why Alicia Keys just shot up from all the other girls who are contemporary, because she actually plays the piano.
She brought something extra to the table.
Yeah, people look at Lady Gaga and they go like, oh, she's got all this stuff, she's a hype, this, that. But Lady Gaga is a trained pianist. This girl's been playing piano since she was 8 years old.
And she's very smart. She's
very
intelligent.
She's smart. She's intelligent. You know, she knows how to play music. So it's not just about the music. It's about the whole business. It's about the business and the plan. What's your plan? What's your business? You can't just get up and say, I want to rap, I want to sing, and that's it. Because when you get that success, it's going to fall right away from you because you don't have no plan.
Congratulations on 10 years. You know, it's a birthday anniversary for the Carter Agency. You know, been a definite pleasure and an honor to have you here on the Entertainment Beat on MyKey TV. Before I let you go, because I know you have a busy schedule, what can the MyKey TV viewers out there look forward to, like any upcoming projects that, you know, that the Carter Agency is doing, that Ron Carter is doing, and your other projects?
Yeah, well, one of the things, you know, that I'm doing right now is I just started a blog called Curbing Bad Behavior. And when I started it, it was an expression of my 19-year-old nephew who was killed in a car crash.
Is there any place where they can contact you? I know you said the blog is Curbing Your Behavior, but is there a website like the Carter Agency, any place where they can reach you?
www.thecarteragency.com.
Great knowledge, great knowledge. I hope you guys are soaking this up. I hope you got your pens and your pads writing this information down, because you're hearing it first from somebody that's not only talked about it, but that's been around it. You heard the names he dropped, and that's just some of the names. So don't forget, you do not always have to be in front of the camera, in front of the limelight. It's always good to get behind the scenes, because that's where the real knowledge and the hard work takes place.